Hey, I'm Daniel Snyder from Seeking Alpha. Thanks so much for joining us for this video for the world of crypto. We're gonna go over a few fundamental things that are just touching on breaking in the crypto market right now. So first, CoinShares, a European digital asset manager, releases data every single week. And we are now about on 6 weeks of straight inflows into cryptocurrencies, which is obviously affecting the price. But then again, on the other side, China has outlawed cryptocurrencies. Lastly, the one thing that you should know is European investment manager Nickel Digital Asset Management recently published a survey on Tuesday, September 28th, saying 62% of global institutional investors with zero exposure to crypto are expecting to make their first crypto investment within the next year. The survey interviewed 50 wealth managers and 50 institutional investors across the United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany, and the United Arab Emirates. But that's the fundamental front. And we like to look at the technicals as well. And lucky for us, we have Seeking Alpha Marketplace Crypto Waves, Ryan Wilday, here with us today. Ryan, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us again.
Doing well. Good to see you.
So I just want to kind of jump in with you. Obviously, it's been a little while since we talked, and you've obviously been doing your thing within the technical analysis arena. What is the opportunity here for crypto from your opinion?
Yeah, let me share a chart real quick. Basically, I would just give a quick primer on the Elliott wave theory so people understand how we work. We understand trends. They move in 5 waves and then tend to have corrective patterns of 3 waves. So I'm showing basically the 5 waves that represent the bull cycle that we've had in Bitcoin since the 2018 bottom in December 2018. And it's pretty mature now. I mean, we are in kind of the mature stages of this cycle. We hear everything from expectations of seeing drops, that this bear market our bull market is near an end, to expecting 200,000 by next year. We've been pretty consistent on expecting a move to 150,000 or 125,000, 150,000. But we still have quite a bit. We have a bit more to go. We've got right now we've been tracking this 5th wave out of our fifth wave of the 3rd, and that should get us to 88K, potentially up to 110. And that's what we're pushing right now. And we've been stuck in the middle of this range. It's been frustrating for a lot of crypto investors, but this is a great pullback for actually adding to positions. I'll show real quick on a lower time frame. This is zooming way in. Honestly, I think we'll see a little bit of really ugly action coming in the next few days. I was hoping for this kind of relief rally into this black part of my black count. But I think we're more likely, based on the action we've seen Thursday and today, that we're going to take this red path very directly down. But in this region from 39,000 to even as low as 32,000, I consider this a buying opportunity. If you're all our members of the Crypto Wave service know we put nice, pretty blue boxes where we suggest that buying should happen or accumulation should happen, and we're getting into that spot here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if you don't mind, for the people that don't really understand Elliott wave theory, is there a quick way you can sum it up for us?
Yeah, so trends move in 5 waves. Those 5 waves, it basically goes with, they move along a kind of a mathematical pattern. So we believe that market sentiment has basically a mathematical relationship of, say, one wave to another. And so not only are we just visually mapping out 5 waves, but we're also actually measuring it. It's quite a nerdy activity of literally measuring wave structures. And then we can take that to also project what our expectations are into the future. It's still dynamic. I honestly have to say this chart that you see in front of you has been extremely constant for months. Those that are aware of it really has hardly moved. Probably since early 2021 is the last time I made a major adjustment in this chart. So it can be fairly constant, but there's still some dynamic to it, especially when you get down to the micro levels. There's quite a bit more changes. So basically, the smaller the time frame, the more dynamic your viewpoint can become. But it gives us everything from those mathematical relationships. Gives us everything from key accumulation spots, invalidation where we are squarely wrong. As a trader, it's nice to know we're absolutely wrong, so you don't have to risk any more money on your opinion, so to speak. And then it also gives us area to take profits. And we'll often be able to take profits before the key tops come, or really start scaling out before they hit us hard. So I mean, it's not the only technique I use in technical analysis, but it's sort of my roadmap view. It's really like that zoomed out. It's the planning view, that allows me to plan trades from pretty far out. So it's pretty cool.
Gotcha. And you said, I want to touch on the 5 ways, but also I just want to hint at that everybody should know Ryan called the top in Dogecoin to the hour. And that's just a little tease right there. We'll talk about that here in a second. But you mentioned the 5 waves and you're talking, what about the pullbacks? I think there's something about an ABC pullback. Could you just elaborate? Like, what is the exact structure?
So within the 5 waves, wave 2 and wave 4, you can see it here. There's a bigger wave. This 4 is of the third, because the third breaks down in 5 waves as well. And then this 4th wave here, those will all be they tend to be ABCs. So so they'll have a 3-wave structure. There are some other forms that are triangle forms are 5 waves of some show up in corrections, but we started at basic level of ABC. So that's a great way to identify a wave that is moving in trend. That is going to be 5 waves, and a wave pulling back to 3 waves. So taking structure to also identify where you are, excuse me, will help roadmap. It'll improve your roadmaps as you go.
Gotcha. Yeah, and this is incredible because as we know, everything in the cryptocurrency world, it seems like there's something new almost every single month, whether it's China hitting the entire industry or NFTs popping up and completely just blasting off. And Ethereum seems to be the one taking over. Is there anything you want to say about the NFT craze going on right now?
I mean, it's not a market I've gotten into. I think on one end, it's a little silly. I mean, there are great artists that are using it to their benefit. Content creators really, content creators are sort of starving for bigger credit and rewards. So I think it's great for them. I mean, we see a lot of, I would say, low quality art going for like $250,000. I mean, I was a designer in my past life, so I'm being judgmental. So maybe, of course, art is in the eye of the beholder. But I'm being a little bit judgmental. But I do think the NFT use case has a lot of use. You can get into gaming, and then kids can play games and then own their character and then sell their character as a way of earning. I mean, the whole play to pay or earn to play is coming out of the NFT space. So I think there's a lot of application. I think it's a great piece. I'm not sure about these cheap JPEGs and how long they're going to be getting $250,000 price tags, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers to all of us, really. I mean, but you think about the supply is endless, so it's really hype and pushing it up. But also, there's this whole thing around gas fees with it, right? So you have gas fees when you have exchange of trades. Could you elaborate on anything you know about the gas fees?
Yeah, I mean, when you interact, most of the NFTs are on the Ethereum blockchain, which is the #2 market cap. It's a smart contract platform. We've got there've been numerous smart contract competitors. Ethereum's just been expensive. It was designed, it's one of the first platform like that, and it was not designed really to scale very well, and it's super popular. I mean, I trade it. I definitely have done transactions on the network, and some of those transactions, at least last year, partly because of the NFT space, but maybe even more so because of the DeFi space, we're hitting like $100 a transaction, and it just doesn't become materially possible to make small transactions at that kind of rate. That's you would probably want to make like $20,000 transaction before it's even worth your while. So compared to a normal exchange transaction, but these transactions you can't make on a normal exchange, like a DeFi transaction or an NFT purchase. So we'll see. And I should say that since Ethereum 2 has come out, I've seen the transactions drop to about $20. So it's a little bit better, but honestly, still that's kind of unacceptable in my view. A lot of crypto exchanges, are like 0.1% or less in terms of fees. So there's competitors. I mean, Solana's a hot coin right now, and I interacted with it as well. It's a dream. I mean, it's ultra fast. It's cheap, and the fees are like less than 4 cents. And we certainly seen NFTs start to pop up on that chain. So we'll see how that goes. We've seen a lot of Ethereum competitors. I mean, the thing is Ethereum has so much use in it that it's got a moat around it. I mean, it's first adoption. It's the first player, first one out of the gate. So yeah.
And you mentioned Solana. Now, Solana is one of the altcoins that you guys cover within Crypto Waves, correct?
Yeah. I've got a chart. I can share it. I didn't put any Fibonacci's on this. That helps with prices. Let me put one on there real quick. I mean, I have to admit the earlier structures in this one was a little bit hard to read. So it got a little bit difficult until we got about here. He didn't really have much of a landmark. So it was too new. That's probably one of the challenges in Elliott Wave is getting a read on the structure very early. However, we've had it you know, pretty much pinned down since we came out of this fourth wave. And we are actually have called a trade in this region. So accumulating in the spot for a run to, it looks like we'll roughly hit this 272 area at least before this thing tops. And then I have this alternate view that eventually gets to $1,300. So we'll see if that plays out. But honestly, after the little trade we have here, people would want to pair back and then see how it goes with this red 4 before trading this last 5 for a major top. And if you look at this very carefully against my Bitcoin count, this red actually works a lot better if this one continues to push like Bitcoin should push. So
that's definitely a big target to the upside. And I know you like making big calls. And we even said it on the last time we interviewed you. We had a bold call from you, and we're still watching Bitcoin, waiting to see where it goes, right? So I love that you talk about the use cases of crypto, though. And I know you're a big believer in the DeFi aspect. Is there anything that you can share with our audience members watching this today about why DeFi is so important for the crypto space?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the dream of crypto is to unbank or bank the unbanked, so to speak, but bank them on the blockchain. You know, the whole dream is to have, you know, basically a financial system that works without intermediaries. But what's interesting about DeFi is now, you know, we've got an Ethereum chain, but it's now working on Solana as well. I think a couple other chains. You've got the ability to lend. You've got the ability. What I get involved a lot in automated market making. So you put assets onto an exchange, and your assets become in play as market making, and you get some trading fees out of it. So I get a lot of yield off the DeFi space, and it could be incredible. Like I have some coin liquidity pools that I'm involved in as a market maker, and I'm making 66% or 60% even. I think I've got some that are in the 100% area in terms of APRs. It's incredible. Now, I mean, I'll be honest, like I don't know how long we're going to be able to exploit that type of APR, but it's a pretty cool space to where you can put your assets, get involved into. You're basically operating as a financial service, whether you be lending, or you can be working as a market maker just by putting your assets into a market making liquidity pool, and then end up being able to yield a return out of it. Now, when I put assets into a liquidity pool, I'm using my chart. So I'm saying, okay, if I'm going to hold these assets in these liquidity pools, I need to make sure I'm bullish on that, because you know, it's no good to have, I mean, a crypto space, it's no good to get a 60% or 100% APR if at the end of the day you pull your assets out and they're just lower in terms of US dollar value. So I have to watch both the chart trend and then watch the APRs and make sure that's what I want to exploit as I go. And I don't do videos on it because there's so many on YouTube, but I have posted people on the service. I've said, okay, this is what I'm doing in the DeFi space. And then I've sent links out to the members to say, hey, here's some ways you guys can read it. I want to be really careful with suggesting DeFi because it's still a new space. It's certainly possible some of these contracts, these smart contracts that are enabling the space are faulty. They have hacks and whatnot. They have vulnerabilities. That's been a problem in the space. I basically listen, see if the site and the smart contract has been around a while before I get involved in it. That's not foolproof, but it certainly, I want to see some trust in the smart contract. So I'm a little bit careful about suggesting that members do it, but I'm very open about saying, if you want to do this and if you want to read up on it, here's how you can do it. And here's my chart if you want to make sure that you're catching the trend. So we enable it without trying to be over suggestive of what people should do in that regard.
Right. Yeah, Ryan, I mean, that's a great point. I just want to make sure that everybody understands. This is not a recommendation for everybody to go buy crypto and start staking it up to get an APR yield like he was talking about, because it is such a new space, and we want to be careful as we enter new spaces. But having Ryan and his partner Jason in your corner can definitely help with your price target and validations and everything else that we've been talking about here. Now, I've got to get to the big story. You called the top of Dogecoin down to the hour. Walk us through that. Was it like the week going up to it, the moment of?
So I'm going to give the caveat and say, like me calling something to an hour I want to say there's a little bit of skill here and a little bit of luck. So let's just be real. But I mean, basically here's my Doge chart. And we actually, I didn't trust Doge because I it's a low quality coin. I have to be really honest. Like it's fast, but there's a huge supply. It started as a joke, so I was really cautious about getting involved in this. But when we got this pullback, it was a clear ABC, and so we did suggest a trade in this area. It was considered a high speculative trade. So we I know some members had bought it earlier and stuff, but for me personally, I'm conservative. I rode this last 5 waves, and it was interesting because I had a tweet earlier. It was maybe like 2 weeks prior to the SNL when Elon was on as the host, and I said, what's really funny is we have a direct projection. I said on this tweet, and you can find it. I could send it to you afterwards, Daniel. This projection we have here is straight to the SNL monologue. I literally said it that way, like, I don't know, it was a week or two in advance. And it was really funny. I'm a very avid SNL watcher. I was literally, I didn't quite believe my tweet, and I believed my chart, but being that precise is difficult. And literally, I was laying in bed with my wife watching SNL monologue. I was watching Elon speak, and then I watched the price action, and I said, I literally posted time to sell Doge, like that monologue, and that was it. That was done. And it lined up with the chart projecting in. And then when I get a projection, I'm always looking for price action to tell me I'm wrong or tell me I'm right. And I saw enough of the price action to say, no, it's time. Let's go. And for me, I think it was a little bit more than a double. Like, it wasn't a giant trade for me, and it wasn't I had huge money in it, but I know some members, and I don't know how many members follow me on exactly that trade, because I don't track that part of it. I just throw the trades out there and support resistance. And then sometimes I have a hot call like that, and it happens that way. But yeah, no, I mean, here's the chart, and ever since then it's been bearish. I mean, there's nothing. I think a lot of members have wanted to have a bullish point of view on this, and I've been bearish ever since. In fact, I've got a C wave down here in the 9 cents to 7 cent region, which I will watch to see. I have problems with it actually holding in that area from the long-term chart perspective, but I will at least watch that area for a real reversal and see if it can actually get some life back into it. That's literally in the 11 cents to 7 cents is a better way of saying it. So yeah, bearish ever since that hour, and it was a good call.
I would say so. Nonetheless, it was an amazing call. And I remember back at that period in time, specifically, especially the week of that SNL experience, SNL show with Elon on, everybody was saying, "Oh, Doge is going to $1. Doge is going to $1." And I can only imagine that you and everybody in this community on Crypto Waves is going, "No, it's not. We're going to get out. This is going to be great. We're going to be so successful on this." I mean, that is just truly an amazing story. And thank you so much for sharing it with us. Now, before we jump off here and you start getting everybody blowing up your Twitter about Dogecoin, why don't we just talk on some things about the crypto space, like the exchanges or Grayscale Trust? I would love for you to just help give us a little bit of knowledge of what you know that might be able to help our viewers watching this video.
I think I want to share. I mean, we're going to continue to see adoption in this space, and we trade. It's important to say we also talk about crypto equities in this service, which does include the trusts from GBTC, Grayscale Trust, which includes GBTC mainly, ETHE as well. There's a couple other ones. We don't like the charts as well, but we will certainly pull them up for people. We also like miners. So with Jason, my colleague, wrote an article about miners a little ways back, and a lot of that was prescient. I mean, we're not seeing the action that we really want to see yet, but we still expect it. There's nothing about the charts that say it's not going to happen. Those are very bullish too. But something we don't talk about very much is exchange equities. So we've got Coinbase trading now. It's very typical for post-IPO charts to go kaput for a while, and we are definitely seeing that in the Coinbase chart. COIN is the symbol. We do expect to be bullish on it at some point, but the price action right now is very bearish. So that'll revive at some point in time. But we got some great ones I'm going to share. Let me get through a mess here a little bit. Galaxy is not a retailer exchange, but is a company they classically called themselves liquidity provider. in the crypto space, and they've been around since I believe 2017, and they trade on the Toronto Exchange. You can get it on, I'm going to try to remember the symbol, but I do have the chart as well. It's just easier to read this one. BRPHF, which is the US OTC symbol. I personally opened myself to access on the Canadian exchange. I trade direct, just a little bit easier, a little bit more liquid that way. But as you can see, we've got a decent 5-wave pattern, and right now we're forming the 5th wave. And that 5th wave is projecting into the 119 area, could be 106 to, let's see, 106 to 185, anywhere in between there. And we'll narrow that down as we get closer. And right now we're sitting at $20, so that's a 5xer. I don't know how long it'll take. I've got it projecting in 2022. Really nice setup. It's actually like really honestly a buy today right now. Just looking at it, it could go a little bit lower, but it's at least in the area we call accumulation. Again, we've got a nice blue box there. So that's a really nice one. And these guys basically liquidity, sorry, I didn't explain the business. They are liquidity providers, meaning they deal with institutional trades. So institution comes in, hey, we want to pick up, $20 million in Ethereum. These guys will help them do that and do it in such a way that price will not be affected. So they'll make a lot of little buys using algos and whatnot to pick up Ethereum at a low price, not to impact price. Institutions are very careful to take the thin crypto market and impact the price. So they use a lot of algos. It's really retailers that are moving on the price. So that's the business these guys do. I used to chart their quarterly value in crypto, and it's many, many tens of millions. So pretty big business, pretty nice. And then another one is really essentially an app. It's available in the US called Voyager app. It's an exchange, but it only works on a phone, which is interesting. And I use it myself. It's my chief fiat to crypto on-ramp. So it's a really easy way to get my cash in. I'll often take the cash or take the crypto and send somewhere else after I buy it on Voyager. But again, a really, really nice 5 waves. This one we see going lower in the short term. This one trades on the US as BYGVF, I think is the OTC. I believe they are applying for a NASDAQ listing. So we may see that. As I understand, these guys are going gangbusters business-wise. Like they have seen such a growth in users. I mean, even like the funny Doge thing just got so many users hooked on crypto through the Robinhood, but a lot of people came to Voyager. I know Kraken, which I use, also is doing a lot of my trading. They had a huge surge in Doge traders. I don't know if people caught that in the last Robinhood quarterly earnings, most of their earnings was due to Dogecoin trading, which is insane. But anyway, Voyager's user growth has grown immensely. Honestly, it's better to trade here than Robinhood because they're specialized in crypto. And as you can see, we've got a really nice return coming up. If we can get it in the $7 region. This is Canadian. This is Canadian dollars. I don't know I think in the US, I can't remember. It's something like $6 US is my ideal buy zone for VYGVF. Anyway, should hit $100 eventually. I'm not putting a timeline on it so much, but it looks like it's around sometime in 2022. So a really great return. So it's a good spot. And again, these charts we also provide in the Crypto Wave service.
Yeah, and I just want people to make sure that they realize, I'm gonna go back to what I started this interview off with, is European investment manager Nickel Digital Asset Management published a survey saying that 62% of global institutional investors with zero exposure to crypto right now are expecting to get into crypto within the year. And I think it's just amazing that the fundamentals and your technical analysis on the charts seem to be lining up, right? So I think as we're moving forward and people are realizing this is an asset, this is something that we need to pay attention to. There's a reason that the ticker is now on Seeking Alpha and that we're following it and our authors are following it. And we have services to help people, is because this isn't going away. It really feels like this isn't going away. And I think you agree with me on that.
Yeah, those institutions would go to Galaxy. I mean, they wouldn't go to Voyager because that's a retail app, but they would go to Galaxy, which is the chart I showed earlier. That is a business that's right in the sort of line of sight of all that business that's coming. So
yeah. For sure. All right, Ryan, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. I appreciate you bringing all of your charts, all of your wisdom, and everything today to this interview. I just want to encourage everyone to go and check out Crypto Waves on Seeking Alpha Marketplace. You can go sign up for the service, and interact with Ryan and Jason. They do weekly videos, correct?
Yep.
Weekly videos and the newsletter as well. and they're there to help you through this entire journey. So Ryan, thank you so much once again, and we'll see you next time.